Coming up on this episode of Swing Nation, we have Lindy Hop and cultural appropriation, Swing Patrol gets investment funding and Keds, feedback, and fun videos. Swing Nation episode 62 starts now.
Hit that jive, close the door, get the carpet off the floor. Swing Nation,
people grooving together.
truck on down, pimp your stroll, put some jelly on that roll. Swing Nation,
People grooving together.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Swing Nation. This is episode 62 for October 22nd, 2014. We've got a hell of a show for you tonight.
And I will remain focused. Go ahead.
You're going to say that thing that you wanted to talk about that neither of us cared about.
It's all you, Manu.
Well, let's just say this. This is Spuds at Sucker Punch. And right there,
And Mony. Hi.
Yay.
Thanks for having me back.
we haven't had you over here for a little while. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a few months.
Wow.
Of course, there was a season break. But
You
still,
weren't
it's
even
true.
in season 5 yet.
Wasn't I?
No.
Sure.
Were you?
I don't know.
Is this season 5?
This is season 5. Right?
Yeah, she's not been in season 5.
Oh, no.
She
not
was in
this
season
yet.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys remember her.
You remember me?
Yes.
Come on, Auntie Anne.
Oh, really?
Let me show you my nephews. They're so cute. My niece, too. Okay, back on track.
Hey,
What
Spuds.
day is it today?
See, now they're going to give me crap because I have my days. It is International Caps Lock Day.
Oh.
That's right.
Whoa, what do you do on that day?
I don't know.
Is it like Talk Like a Pirate Day? Where you do everything in caps lock?
No, Internet.
Not
It
cap
says. It doesn't really say much. It's just the day. It just happened today.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Fair enough.
What else you got going on?
Are we doing quick bits?
Yeah. It's cool. It's like a rite of passage.
Okay, okay.
There is this fundraiser in Genova,
Genova.
one of those 3 places. If you go one of those places, you may see a fundraiser. Now, there's a fundraiser that's happening for a Lindy Hop theater. Actually, let me bring up the site. Can you get me on the box, Jim?
Yeah.
On the sexy box. Now, here's the thing about this site. It isn't all Italian.
Some background on this is that the city was entirely inundated by this horrible torrential flood. So the theater was seriously affected, pretty much destroyed. If you see like the after pictures, there's just like layers of silt, like at least this thick on all the floors in the places where the floors haven't been like just totally ripped up.
Yeah.
And this was the venue where they had all their workshops and events, and their floor is destroyed, their speaker system, all the electrical, but this was their home of Lindy Hop, and so they want to bring it back, and they think that the Lindy Hop community out there can help out. So this is where you come in.
Yeah, so check out the, they have a Facebook page actually if you don't read Italian. And we'll throw that in the show notes. It's a shame, it's terrible. I mean, let's get these guys some money, let's get this place built again. That's catastrophic right there.
Yeah, and when you think about it, how many cities are fortunate enough to have a venue like this? And if you are, then think about losing that and having all that you've worked for just like totally ruined. So I think it'd be a really nice gesture if the entire community got together, as we know we can do, because we've done it before,
Yeah,
to like
for
help.
the Century Ballroom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
to like help people get back on their feet in our community because we love it.
All right, check the show notes. Also, there is this thing that Rick added. I'm just gonna say right now.
Just
this is
gonna out
crazy.
him.
Yeah, I'm gonna out him. Rick's not on the show today. Aw. But that was great. Bruce Lee Cha-Cha Master. So apparently, I think this is just a cool little homage to this guy because Bruce Lee is, if you don't know, he was a famous, karate artist. Karate. Did you know that, Ian?
Did I know? Of course I
about
know Bruce Lee.
Well, you're from Canada. I don't know what you know.
No, I know about Bruce Lee.
Okay. No, she knows. I'm just kidding with her. So he posts this thing that showed up on dangerousminds.net presenting the 1958 Hong Kong Cha-Cha champion, Bruce Lee. And they have these pictures of Bruce Lee and his partner dancing tango. This one I love. This was my favorite. It looks almost like he's doing Lindy Hop. It's like a closed position. He's not. He's doing tango. But it looks like Lindy. Straight leg Lindy.
So that's why it's on the show, right?
That's why it's on the show. Because it looks kind of like Lindy. And it's Bruce Lee.
Awesome.
In my experience, people who have done martial arts pick up Lindy Hop really quickly. So
I think people who have done anything where they really have to pay attention to where their body is, they're just like automatically just going to be so much better at dancing.
Well, yes and no, because sometimes you have to break muscle memory. Like if you've done classical ballet and you've done
You trying
that
to tell
many
me
years, like-
something? You trying to say something?
you know, maybe you struggle a little more than kung fu masters.
But you know what? In defense, you also will probably have the discipline to break those habits more easily, right? Since you've mastered something, you know the path to mastery is to release all that other stuff. Robert Royston was a martial arts.
Do they all know who
champion.
Rob Royston is?
Robert Royston is a West. Exactly. I left it out there for a little bit for the people who do know who he is. I'm just going to sit on it. But Robert Royston is a West Coast swing champion right now. He is a 10 times Texas two-step champion or something like that. And he was a martial artist. And he's a kinesiologist.
Oh, no way.
Did that just come out of my mouth right?
did.
You did it perfectly.
Wow.
Slowly, but
In cap.
And
Caps
I can't say that word.
So anyway,
Caps
there you go. Bruce Lee.
Bruce
Awesome.
Lee, he's the man.
Next week, Chuck Norris.
Oh, God.
Let's get some features.
Yeah.
We've decided to change a little format. Sorry, we started to change the format. We're going to do feedback at the end of the show. So if you're waiting to hear your letter that you wrote to us, stick around.
Now you have to see the whole show.
Now you have to watch the show. Okay.
So, yeah, but, we've got great features. Anyway, we've got great features coming out the ears, including a first one. Anne was joking earlier that every time we have her on the show, we give her the
We get
topics that are
heavy.
Like their cultural sensitivity correspondent. So stay in offended Lindy Hoppers. We have.
Let's see this.
So here we have a blog post. It's called Social Dance, Social Justice Must Go Hand in Hand. It's on a blog called The Pioneer/Opinion. And this was a blog post posted a few weeks ago on September 25th. And the person basically suggests that, well, let me quote this. Naturally, the idea of a predominantly white group of people taking over and revamping an African American cultural tradition seems problematic. Dun dun dun.
I think it's totally true. For me, this was like a no-brainer. Like, yes, it is really a problem that we're just like a bunch of white people who have been like, oh, hey, what a great hobby you've got there. Yoink.
And I disagreed. I read this and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Come on now. This was not. May I?
Yeah, go for it.
Woo, uh-oh.
So, my feeling is that Lindy Hop as a whole is not cultural appropriation. I think that the group that came up with Lindy Hop was diverse. The group that does Lindy Hop now across the world is diverse. I think you can point out elements of cultural appropriation that Lindy Hoppers do that make some of us cringe, but I don't think you can say Lindy Hop should be considered cultural appropriation because, in a way, and I did some researching on this today, and
This is the international sign for research, by the way.
research. Caps lock research. Ironically, if you consider it all appropriation and you stay away from it, you're reinforcing some of the racist undertones that were there. If you approach it from a place of respect and honoring the past and everyone who does it nowadays, I think you're not participating in appropriation.
So, I think that, well, this particular blog post, I think, is ill-informed because it's not written by a dancer or someone who has reasonable context into our culture. For example, this person thinks that it's about dressing up in vintage style and dancing around as a result of that when, like, I can't pull off vintage to save my life and I kind of don't want to. So like they don't necessarily go hand in hand. Certainly people are informed by the style and the lifestyle and everything like that, but they aren't necessarily linked. However, I do think it's an excellent point to bring up the fact that a bunch of white people doing a hobby that by and large was done by Black Americans does send up some warning signals, and especially considering the fact that we have people among us who, for example, have done performances in blackface. Like, I think that is a bad sign of the fact that it's a bad representation of our education to everyone about the culture and the history of this dance if people can do that and think that it's okay.
I just think that just for people who probably maybe don't want to bother reading the blog post, the one little section that I want to read right here from the author, we don't know how to pronounce the person's name, do we? So
We
it's
don't?
not
Not
really
even
important.
gonna try.
So we won't try. But we'll check the show notes for the link. My friend described the culture of Lindy Hoppers and separated them into two categories: people who dance so that they can wear a costume, and people who wear a costume so that they can dance. The vintage origin of the dance means themed dresses and jazz club venues. I'm going to skip around to this part right here. Glamourization of the 1930s Harlem and its unique cultural style is a present tone, but the petty aesthetic shouldn't be uncoupled from the fact that life in Harlem during that time was not often very fun. In that time period, dancing was a way to temporarily escape from daily life's problems. So it's like, is he saying, because I read it twice, is he saying, yeah, you can't be Lindy hopping if you don't know about the struggles of the Lindy Hoppers? Is he saying with the accent and everything?
Kind of.
Kind of what he's saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, because in cultural appropriation, you pick and choose, right? And you come from a place of privilege, and you say like, haha, I'm gonna, mock this thing or take it not seriously at all, and then go back to my comfortable life. But I mean, there are times when you appropriate something in that way, that disrespectful way, and then there are other times there's like this gray zone where it's cultural transmission. Like maybe you're from another country and you really,
which is often the case, as with the Swedes that he mentions.
Right.
Right.
Well,
or she mentions.
So I think that it can be done in a good way, in a respectful way. Like, I think there's some Lindy Hop teams that say wear World War II uniforms, and they're doing that hopefully with the intention of, respecting the people who were, who went off to war at that time, not doing it in a disrespectful way. Mm-hmm. There are other times that are like, but that could be contested. Like, you could have a debate about like, should we be dressing up as soldiers when we haven't gone to war? When we weren't around at the time, when we, weren't involved in that struggle. But then there are other times, like the one Nicole mentioned, like where it's blatantly obvious that you should not do any sort of blackface.
Ever.
You should not wear a fat suit.
Ever.
You should not.
I think you're good.
Well, so I think that your interpretation of cultural appropriation is a negative one, where people are
but that's
only
his
doing this
or
in
hers.
mockery. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Whereas I think that cultural appropriation can often be entirely unwitting, where you take something that you think is really great and you identify with it and you present it to the world, but you don't necessarily take every opportunity to tell the world exactly where that thing came from. So when Anna and I were discussing this earlier, we talked a bit about Madonna incorporating voguing into her album. She, had a song called Vogue. And Anne asked if that was cultural appropriation. And I contend that it is, because she didn't do all the work possible to shine the spotlight that she got for being a popular white person back on those who made the dance form itself. So if you take all the accolades that you get and you use that to illuminate artists who are the trendsetters that you got it from, then I don't think it's cultural appropriation. But if you just take it and incorporate it into your life and don't acknowledge where it came from, that's where it becomes problematic. And so that's where I think this blog post becomes ill-informed, because it's not entirely clear through the blog post that they understand how much we talk about the originals, the greats, and the effect that they had on the dance, and the fact that we are so grateful that we have this. But I do think we do need to go further in terms of incorporating, we need to get more black people in Lindy Hop, I think. It was theirs. I think that we have whitewashed it and not given as much due.
Pardon the pun.
And no, so totally seriously whitewashed.
Yeah.
And given not sufficient due to the culture that it came from. We've not done a terrible job, but we've not done a great job either, and we need to sort of like take steps to ameliorate that.
What do you guys think? Let us know. Check out the blog post.
What do you
Like I
think,
said,
Spuds?
I think we got to move on.
Do we really?
I'm okay with not saying anything else about that blog post.
All right.
But I did read it twice because I'm stupid. So there's this little group called Swing Patrol that exists in both. Have you heard of Swing Patrol?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just going to do that for the rest of the show.
I know somebody who teaches for them in London.
Right.
But are they connected to the group in
Nancy?
Australia? Nancy hits again.
It's in cooperation, yeah. So Swing Patrol is pretty big. I think the Australian group started first and went over to London. But back in July of this year, of 2014, Scott Cupid, who was one of the founders of Swing Patrol UK, appeared on the British television show Dragon's Den. And if you're not familiar with yes, if you're not,
I've been
familiar
waiting
with-
all show for that.
So awesome. All I think is Harry Potter, like when I hear Dragon's Den. If you're not familiar with Dragon's Den, it's a show that Shark Tank is based off of, where they have a bunch of like rich guys sitting in a room and people pitch to them their idea, and then they bid on whether they think the idea is good or not, and then so it's a nice little way for people to make a little money. So Scott went on Dragon's Den and managed to land himself £65,000 investment. That's $105,000 US from the former Strictly Come Dancing star Deborah Meaden. She's a dancer. She's one of the they call them dragons on the show. She's one of the rich guys.
You want to do it again?
So cue Nicole the dragon.
Should have brought my dragon outfit for this.
It's always good to bring your dragon outfit, Nicole.
What did I tell you, Nicole?
Nicole, yeah. So check it out. This is a clip from Dragon's Den with Scott Cupid pitching.
Who's hitting?
First into the den is Scott Cupid. He was a banker, but decided to swap his job for something with a little more swing.
Ready to have fun?
Yeah.
Is that hits?
It's probably people you know, maybe. So this is odd because the pitch starts with a dance routine, which is kind of awesome. Talk about a tough audience.
I love his eyebrow expression.
Hi, Dragons. Thanks for your time. My name's Scott. I'm here to tell you about Swing Patrol. We'd like to
All right.
offer...
Then he goes into his pitch about the Swing Patrol. So basically, Scott wanted to raise some money to open a venue. And I don't know if you have access to British television, you should try and check it out. I think it's season 5, episode 12 of Dragon's Den. But the short story is he got not funded, but Deborah bought in for his $65K and 20% equity in Swing Patrol. Right? So it's a little mutually beneficial. This story, actually, I made this the lead story because the story we were going to talk about was the fact that Swing Patrol just got
A deal with Keds.
a deal with Keds. I knew you would love that.
It's like my dream. All I want in this world is like a lifetime supply of Keds.
So I knew this was. Oh, I can't get to the site. But anyway,
How many pairs do you own?
Oh my God.
I at least like 15. At least 15 pair of Keds.
Keds, if you're watching, you should offer this woman some more.
Obviously, yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
You need
I've got the entire rainbow, and then I've got the ones with strawberries on them, and the ones with silver sparkles, and then I got night sky ones too.
I would say photo or I don't believe you, but I
Right.
really believe you.
You've seen
so
them.
I want a
I've seen
photo
them.
though.
All right.
Like a regular photo.
We'll post it.
So We plan to have Scott actually on the show, probably one of the next shows coming forward, so we can talk to him about his Swing Patrol venture and how he's so popular. It's huge. It's the biggest swing class specific thing on the planet.
So Deborah Meaden, who was the one who funded or who made the investment in him,
Right.
has this quote that makes me worry a little bit. It says, "Swing Patrol isn't just the world's largest swing dance school. It's a corporate entertainment company and an extremely valuable sponsorship opportunity for brands that want to associate with style, energy, and fun. We'll be working with Swing Patrol to build its business-to-business offerings and revenue streams over the next few months." And when I hear business-to-business offerings, I go, oh no.
Yeah, these guys are businessmen. I mean, if you watch the episode, Scott comes in with a plan. They all kind of go south on him and like, no, we're not interested. And he's like, well, I need to get funded, so what do you guys think? And then they kind of work out a deal, which he's a business guy. He was a banker at first. He's a business guy. So he's probably going to do whatever it takes to get money to further the cause of Lindy Hop. But, you know, we'll see what happens because he's in bed now with a dragon. I just said that.
And then the sheets are on fire. You don't know what's going to happen.
Woo! Oh, yeah. Anyway,
fuego.
We'll talk to Scott if we can. En fuego. Let's do some videos.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about some videos. Boy, oh boy.
We've
Maybe
not
we
had
should-
time for videos in a while.
I know. I don't know where I found this.
On YouTube?
It was, yes, that's right. It wasn't on Match.com. This is just a clip of Stephen Mitchell and Sylvia Sykes just social dancing a little bit. Just something like kind of cool.
That was beautiful. That was
Yeah.
some solid dancing. You ever have like one of those mochi cakes? They're like cake and mochi combined. And you bite down on it and it's like, it's thick but it's airy. And you're like, and you just like, it takes some effort to chew, but it's so satisfying. That's what that video was. That was a mochi cake.
I've
of
never
Lindy
had
Hop.
a mochi cake.
So good.
Can you get me a mochi
Yes.
cake?
Yes, I can.
Because I want that to happen in my mouth.
And I'll have a little Sylvia and Steven dancing on top of it.
Maybe you could do that for your wedding.
Oh, good idea.
That's a nice little moment there. Anyway, let's do Nikki and Bobby.
Okay.
I'll do Nikki, you do Bobby. I couldn't help.
How did that happen?
Let's just see what's going on here. This is Electro Swing Crew, and this was actually uploaded back in November of 2012.
I didn't realize that.
And I know this is something Rick found, but I kind of love it.
This is Nicole Rochelle,
Nicole Rochelle.
who works in Paris, but she must have been in New Orleans.
Probably for Showdown.
And she and Bobby Bonzi filmed this. They choreographed it. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I like the variety in the choreography. That's always moving, always changing.
I like that they're doing a lot of different stuff, but it's all stuff that's in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I don't like the inclusion of random stuff that you took a class in one time, which is not what I think.
They got a nice big wheelhouse. Is that back there? Is that the wheelhouse in the background?
I mean, their wheelhouse is collectively pretty large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It's a nice one.
It also changes to another location.
Another point of
afterwards.
view?
Not another point of view. I was gonna say point of view. Changes to another location and maybe another point of view. Like maybe we want to be this person. Ultimate Lindy Hop Showdown.
Showdown ULHS 2014. Not many videos out there.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know. I'm upset.
I've been
I
waiting.
am privileged, and I want videos right now.
Were you guys
I want them
talking
the
about-
day of the competition.
Yeah.
What were you talking about before? Like, why aren't there videos? Like, this is weird. Oh, because you said
I
Elaine
don't
wasn't
know.
there.
Ally Wong, I think, went this year, but he was teaching. I don't know if he filmed.
And if he or Patrick are not filming, things just like don't happen
boy.
immediately.
Goes up in the air.
Like, who knows when we'll ever get video? I know that Anais was in the like solo blues comp, and I freaking love her solo dancing, and I want that goddamn video. Is that so much to ask? Where is it?
We can't
Where
find
is
them.
it?
We can't find it. We found.
on the top of Facebook feeds, but if you search for it, it's
I have searched.
I YouTubed. Well,
I
I obviously have to.
I found some by
see.
random users who. Thank you, friends, for posting those videos. You can find pretty easily by either putting Showdown 2014 or ULHS 2014. The Chorus Girl competition, the Slow Dance competition finals, the Lindy Hop battle finals. There's a jam, which is really awesome. There was also part of Showdown, it was social dancing, and the bands were stellar. But there was an intergenerational contest. There was an endurance contest. There was
Intergeneration. Wait, back up. What does that mean?
young person, older person.
Oh,
Yeah.
You could be an older person.
Hey!
I could be. How about I am?
There was a solo blues contest, a solo jazz contest, Jack and Jill, and it's hard to find these videos. If you post them to Facebook, I might not see them. Makes me sad.
Yeah.
You don't want her to be sad.
Well, so what do we have right now? We'll show some of those others later.
Perhaps we should show the finals of the Lindy Hop battle.
Is that
Which-
this?
That is a jam. We can watch.
We gotta
the
watch
jam.
that,
Let's
'cause
watch
that's
the
all
jam.
we
The jam is
have.
hot. This is the Jonathan style orchestra. Dope man.
Hey, get out of the way.
This one makes me think.
Wow. I can't dance that fast anymore. I could. And that's totally fine.
No, I remember when you did.
The contest results have been posted. Lots of photos of people holding up plaques and being really proud of their winnings. But
I want to see the dancing.
I want to see it all.
Yeah. Well, we'll cut to some of that next week when stuff starts showing up in the public. For now, let's get to some feedback and then let's get out of here.
Feedback.
We get letters.
Feedback.
So this one is from. How do you say this person's name?
Turlock.
Turlock.
You asked the same question last time too.
I did? Oh God, I'm just terrible. Via email, this is in regards to the West Coast Swing not asking the pros thing we talked about, free the pros. And they write, I can see why something like this would come up, but it's a really bad idea. These poor pro dancers living the dream of half the people in the dance hall. It must be so hard for them to have people want to dance with them. Boo-hoo. We are dancers of a social dance, and we want to see the pros dancing. Sure, sometimes we all have off nights. The problem is that we put pressure on the pros to say yes by not asking, not asking, I guess, the right way, and taking it the wrong way when people say no. This kind of thing is just feeding fire with fire. For some people, like the ones who can't travel that much, dancing with a pro is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and they almost definitely won't get that chance with this kind of rule in place. ...
Well, are they more likely to, without the rule in place, when people just like don't want to go to the dance, or they like try to go early and like leave?
Well, let's see. We got another one from Azeroth on Yehoodi. States, if Lindy Hop is all about, so it looks like everybody's against this. If Lindy Hop is all about liberating folks and breaking down barriers, and isn't this practice the kind of antithesis to that? How does reducing access to instructors help the scene? Does a dancer really want to, quote, grow up so they don't have to deal with the burden of being asked to dance? I would love it if you could discuss this in more details. I think it's a good practice once you dig into it and the culture establishes it, but I'd love to hear deeper insights from you. And finally, from Penguin Bob, we have, from Yehoodi, we have, But the crowding of instructors is a problem. It's bad for them because they're having less fun, getting tired too fast. I know some instructor contracts will have written in an expectation to come to the evening dance at an event, but for most of the time, they're at the evenings to have fun. Having a cue to dance with you ain't fun. At larger events, I've seen instructors actively avoid crowds by dancing in the non-band room, coming out earlier in the evening, etc. I think it's something we need to recognize and educate more people about. I don't think we should go down the road of banning the asking of instructors to dance, but something does need to be done. So thank you so much for all your feedback. Once again, if you want to give us more feedback, hey, we're in the right place for that.
Imagine that. You can contact us. You can email us at news@yehoodi.com. You can get to us on the Facebooks at Yehoodi, or we have SwingNation as well, right?
Yep, SwingNation TV.
Woo! Or on Twitter at Yehoodi, at Spuds, at Zuckerpunch. Do you have a Twitter handle?
At Mony.
Awesome.
Yeah, we show it actually in credits.
Oh, cool. Or you can subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which you should totally do because obviously we are worth following. Search for Yehoodi. You can call us on the telephone if you are so inclined, 201-984-SHOW. That's 201-984-7469.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Anne, Mony, for coming down and
Thanks
being
for
with
having
us.
me back.
It is a pleasure to have you on.
Anytime there's another controversy, just call me back. Hey, I'm Mony. This person said this really offensive thing. I'm on it. I'm coming.
That's because we know you can handle the big stuff. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. We will see you guys on the next show.
All around the planet, gates are in the groove. Don't have to understand it, you just have to move. Truck on down, pimp your stroll, put some jelly on that road, Swing Nation.